Now, Mike gave me credit for being a voice for the automobile industry in the White House. I will not deny that, but John Dingell, when I got elected, had a little electrode planted in my ear so that he could directly talk to me all the time to tell me exactly what to do. I've never known a man who has been more supportive of, better champion of, and more effective in the support of the American automobile industry than John Dingell, the Dean. John, thank you. What a difference. What a difference 5 years makes. Everything from the mood here at this auto show in 2009 to what you faced back then. The likely collapse of the automobile industry. My mother, my deceased wife, used to say that the greatest gift God gave mankind, and she meant it, was the ability to forget. I'm being serious. Think about it. The greatest gift is the ability to forget the bad things and focus on the good. The good news is the American public has already forgotten how tough it was in 7, 8, 9. And the good news is that we're back. Car sales, when we took office, it had nothing to do with us. In 2009, I don't mean this, we get more credit sometimes than we deserve. In 2009, they had plunged 40% in a single year. The supply chain was threatened with extinction. And for every employee, those of you in the automobile world know, for every one guy or woman on the line, there's 4 people down the line who are employed because there is a line. 4 people. Every employee in the industry lost 400,000 jobs in 2008. And I'm glad that gentleman's hoarse because I can't hear him. But I welcome his comments, whatever they were. But in 400,000 jobs in 2008 alone, we stood on the brink of losing well over 1 million more. As the CEO of Ford said, Mulally, he said, if GM and Chrysler would have gone into free fall, that could have taken the entire supply base into free fall also, and taken the U.S. industry from recession, the U.S. from recession to depression. It was a pretty tough spot, but fortunately, we and the American people placed a bet on all of you sitting in front of me. We bet on American ingenuity, we bet on you, and we won. We determined and what was at the base of it, John used to talk about, we determined that how could we, and I mean this sincerely, how could we possibly walk away from the iconic industry of America? When you go around the world, the one thing that America was known for, thought about, all through the 20th century, automobiles, and toward the end of the century, aircraft. That's who we were. I used to bristle at the assertion the economists would come in and we'd listen to them all, and very bright women and men, and they'd tell us, you know, you've got to lower your sights here. The days when the automobile industry in America would be producing 15 million cars a year and selling them, those days are gone. We've got to lower our sights. We've got to readjust. And I know if you go back and Google it, as they say, the press used to sometimes point out I would repeat something ad nauseum that they thought was overdone. And my response was, where is it written? Tell me one factual point where it says America can't continue to lead the world in automobile manufacturing. I mean it sincerely. Where was it written? What structurally changed in America? Did we lose our genius? Did we no longer have the most productive workers in the world? Were we not still the leader in the world in technological change? So why? Why would we have to accommodate the notion that we had to change. But because of the difficult restructuring management put Chrysler and General Motors through, and also the ingenuity and technological capability of our designers and our engineers, your designers and engineers, and I might add, the sacrifices made by the UAW to turn this whole thing around, workers paid a real price. They accepted plant closures, benefit cuts, wage cuts, and everyone knows these companies wouldn't be in existence today without all that cumulative sacrifice made by everyone from car dealers to UAW members. But the sacrifices result in the success you see on this floor today. Since Chrysler and General Motors emerged from bankruptcy, you've created 380,000 new jobs. And by the way, these aren't just jobs. These are middle-class jobs, jobs upon which you can raise a family. All the economists out there, they argue about what's middle class, $50,140 or $52,000. It's a value set. It's not a number. It's being able to own your home and not just rent it. It's being able to send your kid to a decent school where they can walk to school into a park where they don't have to worry about their safety. It's about being able to send them to college if they do well enough in that school to get there, and be able to maybe help your parents in the process and do well enough to hope your children will never have to help you. That's what middle class is. That's what built this country. But you need jobs, incomes to sustain that. And you, the automobile industry, are back in the business of not just building the best product in the world, but creating those jobs. The big three have come out of a low of about 13 million vehicles sold in 2009 to over 17 million in 2012. The 13 numbers aren't out yet. But remember, we were told we can't do this again. Remember, John? They told us we're not going to get there again. Well, now, who knows what the numbers will be in 13. U.S. vehicle exports went from $25 billion in 2009 to over $51 billion in 2012. American trucks and cars are competitive in every market in the world today. And we're going to make sure we get more competitive in Japan if I have anything to do with it. We've gained back significant share of the U.S. auto market. As I said, you're competitive around the world. The federal government is no longer an equity owner of General Motors and Chrysler, which is a little sad because I'm the only guy that I made a commitment in 1972 when I ran that I'd never own any stocks or bonds. I never have. That's why I'm listed as the poorest guy in the Congress. For a minute there, John, I thought I owned some stock. You know, I felt like I owned something for a change. But all kidding aside, Chrysler has repaid all of its federal loans 6 years ahead of schedule. And last month alone, you created another 8,300 automotive jobs in the automotive industry. I'm the son of an automobile man. My dad managed two of the largest dealerships in the state for over 35 years. He never owned it, but he managed them, and he was first rate. I remember what my dad used to say in the good years and the bad years. He said, Joey, all they got to do is send me product. Send me product. Send me product. You know, as you look around this floor today, you're going to see everybody what you already know. You're producing the best product in the world. It's safer. It's more stylish. It's more economical. It's more fuel efficient. It's more powerful. And you're just getting started. When that J.D. Power report came out 2 years ago saying that the majority of Americans thought American automobiles were better built than foreign automobiles, some thought I was being a little crass. I said, my dad is sitting up in his grave going, finally. Finally. But we're back. And it's all across the big three. Motor Trend last week. The Corvette Z06 said, quote, Corvette 06 shows that GM finally gets it. J.D. Powers calls Chrysler, my staff is kidding me because on my iPhone, I subscribe to each of those magazines. Chrysler 200, a building block for a future filled with competitive products sold on the merits rather than the legacy. Car and Driver said, Competitors can't hold a magnet to the latest F-Series. It goes on. It goes on across the world. American cars and trucks are once again changing the game. And I might add, providing good, decent jobs for families and generating hundreds of thousands of jobs in ancillary industries as a consequence of your growth. Secretary Pritzker was here, I'm told, yesterday, and she said, quote, "When American businesses are tested by a crisis, they adapt. We experiment, we innovate, and we come back stronger." The truth is, we're not only back, we're back stronger. The American automobile industry isn't just back, like Detroit's going to come back, but America's back, in part because you are. Folks, there's an awful lot more to talk about. I'd love to get into the details of some of the vehicles here and the revolutionary improvements made in materials and durability, fuel efficiency. You got pickup trucks with solar panels in the truck bed, all-electric vehicles that redefine power and luxury. But there's nothing but exciting prospects for the automobile industry and all the spin-offs it's generating. But I've got to get back to Washington for a national security meeting with the president a little later, and I'd love to spend more time with you guys, but I'm a car junkie. I want to go out on the floor. I want to see some of these vehicles you built. The new Ford F-150, aluminum frame, increased fuel efficiency. But what's really good news about that is River Rouge has 4,300 jobs and likely to keep those and increase them as a consequence of that product. I love that Cadillac ATS. Matter of fact, I love it so much. My brother had the big engine 456, and it was very disheartening when I realized he could blow my Corvette away. But at any rate, what I especially like is the 500 jobs added to the plant in Lansing. And the Chrysler 200 had enough horsepower to bring back the entire Sterling Heights plant along with 900 jobs. And guys, as I said to you, I have a 67 Corvette, original. My dad didn't have a lot of money, but what he did, he took my fiance's automobile. None of you are old enough to remember. There used to be it was a new Tempest, Pontiac Tempest, and my 51 Chevy Bel Air, and he said he was going to fix them up for us for a wedding gift. And then the day before the wedding, he had us drive in and came under the portico of the dealership. There was a brand new 1967 327 350 Goodwood green two-top convertible waiting there as a wedding gift. Well, I still have it. And I had it rebuilt several years ago. I still have the original sticker, $5,900. It cost 5 times that much to rebuild it. But I still love it. But the downside is it's sitting in my garage. And one of the downsides is that as Vice President of the United States, you're not allowed to drive. And so my sons, who are grown men, even after having it rebuilt 10 years ago, the engine needed to be fixed up a little bit, and from having driven it, and a new clutch. And so they did that as a Christmas gift for me last year. And it sat down there in that garage, and I tarred it up and tack it up, and it, hear that gurgling sound. And finally, I pulled it out of the driveway. I have a long driveway where I live. And I said to the chief agent, I said, "Look, either get in the passenger seat with me or shoot me, because I'm moving." And I laid about 60 feet of rubber up my driveway. These guys are still talking about what the hell's the matter with that guy. But I shouldn't be saying this probably, but and I just want you to know that that 67 was 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. I didn't do that, John, but it was. But this new Corvette Z06 is 0 to 60 allegedly in 3.4 seconds. I don't know that. Apparently, you all at GM haven't fully unveiled that, but I hear that may be the case. And it can take slalom faster and corner harder than the Porsche. I love a headline I wrote down. You excuse this was in Car and Driver, the January issue. It says, quote, "Corvette Z06, part ZR1, part throwdown for Porsche. The track's worthiest vet gets forced induction and gobs of race car tech. Now, you know, that old Corvette, that rear end, wasn't, you know, it wasn't what you'd call stable, right? But they tell me this new one, man, can take the Porsche. I'm counting on it. But at any rate, guys, I love you, but I want to go see some of these vehicles. I just wanted to come and say that thank you. Thank you. We get credit. The president gets credit, and he deserves it, and John gets credit and deserves it. But the truth is, the reason why the industry's back is all of you. It's back because of the sacrifices you've made, but it's even more importantly back because we still have the most innovative minds in the world. We still have the best engineers in the world. We still have the best tech people in the world. We still have the most entrepreneurial instincts in the world. No other country, as they used to say in my neighborhood, is a patch on our genes. This is going to be the American century in manufacturing. Mark my words. Not just in automobiles, but manufacturing coming back to America. It's coming back because we have a legal system that protects people's contract rights, where intellectual property is protected, where we have the finest research universities in the world, where we produce the single best technological capability the world has ever seen. Think about it, guys. Name the other countries producing engineers and scientists where there is a worldwide brand they're associated with. Ladies and gentlemen, I was recently in Singapore, and one of the guys who's viewed as one of the wisest men in the world that every world leader sort of stops by and sees, he's 92 years old. His name is Lee Kuan Yew. And he's an expert on an awful lot of things, and he's somewhat frail now, but his mind is really sharp. And he said to me, so I asked to see him, met with him. And I met with him about an hour and a half, John. And at one point, I asked him, I said, Mr. President, former president, I said, what is China doing now? And by the way, we want to see China succeed. I want to see China succeed and do well because it's a market for the United States of America. And I want to see them stable, and they're good people. But I said, what's China doing now? And he said something fascinating to me, John. He speaks perfect English. He said, China is in America trying to find that black box that's buried. And I looked at him. This is literally true. I said, Mr. President, the black box. He said, yes. That box that contains the secret that enables America to be the only country in the world that can constantly remake itself. And I said, well, I can tell them what's in that black box. Two things. A constant flow of new immigrants, new ideas, and new cultures enriching this culture. And something stamped into the DNA of every American, whether they're naturalized or native born. This is the only country in the world, from the time our children are raised, they are taught to challenge orthodoxy. To challenge orthodoxy. Only fundamentally new things can happen by moving beyond the old. You in the automobile industry are part of that legacy. You're leading us back, and we thank you for it. Thank you for your ingenuity, your entrepreneurship, and your absolute commitment to once again making America the automotive capital of the world. It's a delight to be with you all. Thank you very much.